I think one of the topics that we're going to cover today is the fact that N8N is finally coming out with a prompt to automation, which I'm super excited for. This is what we've been talking about for, well, months, to be honest with you. Like I've really looked forward to the day that I see the news on this. I think the news came out maybe like a week or two ago. Well, the official article came out, I think, on the 6th of October, but N8N tweeted about it only just a day or two ago. So very excited to be talking about it. Some of the things that I know people have asked, for example, hey, can we use it locally or self-hosting, for example, stuff like this. And yeah, I think it's a cool comparison to do with the basically agent kit and what they developed to see what we can do, what it's going to look like, and what it's going to mean for the future of N8N, or even for automation building, to be honest with you guys, because I think there's going to be quite a lot that we can kind of talk about. One sec. I got Sarita left, and then we can officially get started. A lot of familiar faces. I do love that. I do have a new face as well, which I'm definitely gonna try to get to introduce himself, and then we can go into some questions, answering whatever we're gonna be able to cover today. Welcome everyone. As always, quick intro. My name is Vic. Alongside Julian, co-founded the AI Profit Boardroom. With that, we also introduced our AI automation offering, and we have been, honestly, since this launched in late January, early February, and ever since, we have been doing a lot more and more as weeks have gone by. We are trying to make sure that we are doing our due diligence with exploration, testing, so on and so forth. Through that, this lovely community came to be. We have exchanged so many wonderful Q&As, so many wonderful ideas have come through, even cooperations and collaborations have happened. I will be hosting your call today. You might have seen me in some of the conversations on the platform or in some of the lessons. I started releasing some of the lessons regarding GenSpark, which I'm very happy to kind of say. And I am looking for some inspiration on what else you guys would like to see. Very happy to create stuff around that. Of course, as long as it's helpful and as long as it is educational. Okay. As always on these calls, I like to start with some new people that I see in the call and kind of let you guys have this room to give a little intro, tell me what you're working on, and if there's any way to help. Once we get past or through some of the new members here, very happy to continue with a Q&A. Meanwhile, if you do have a question, raise your hand, drop it in chat. Very happy to try and help you. Okay, so the three new people that I see today are Chris, Omar, or maybe Omar, you've been here, or at least I think we might have conversed in DMs, and Food for Thought. Now, I'm going to assume that's not your name, but maybe it's an alias. I'm totally cool with that. We're online, so it's all fine. So let's go to you, Omar, first, because I can see Chris is kind of moving. You're not new, Omar. All right, there we go. Maybe we've spoken in the past. I do truly apologize. I get way too many people here. All right, well, what about Food for Thought? Food for Thought, are you okay to introduce yourself? Are you able to tell us a little bit about like what you're working on? If you're shy, it's all good. I can see Chris unmuted though. Chris, you can go for it until Food for Thought gives it a thought.
Hey, how's it going? My name is Chris Cortez. I own cell phone stores. I'm semi-retired, but I get drafted to work at the post office for a friend covering a route. But I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do when I grow. I own cell phone repair stores, so I was thinking about using AI for selling that. My girlfriend is an author, so I was thinking about trying to implement AI processes to help promote her books.
Right.
I bought a bunch of domains. Unstoppable domains, IPFS style, and I just don't know how to set those up. And didn't know if I could just use them as like a static link, where I could just, because I own those forever, and then I could just redirect them to whatever, almost like a link tree style site. But again, I just signed up, so now I'm going to try and. I finished the boardroom stuff yesterday. That was great. I appreciate all the knowledge you shared in those. And now I did the fast starter course, the first one. Okay. I had to run outside. They have a fit about cameras in the post office.
That's all good, Chris. That's all good. All right, so let's start with some of your use cases. First and foremost, very happy that you're already going through the content. Hope that's helpful. And if you have any feedback, very happy to hear you and try to implement that. Now, in terms of what you said regarding the two different use cases, so one of them is you own a bunch of like, I think you said phone sales shops, right? And then your partner...
phone repair, yep. Phone
repair, okay. And then your partner is an author, okay. I think there are two different ways that we can tackle this. So let's talk about your use case first, which is the phone repair shops. I think one of the main ways that I would look to use AI is within one of two ways. It's either marketing, so that you can increase how many people see you, how many people know about you, maybe how many people come to you, because a phone repair shop is always going to need that physical kind of like appearance of people to bring in the phones to get repaired, right? So that's number one. And number two, if you do have any way of generating these leads online, whether it's through opt-in forms or whether it's through, hey, if you come to me, the first repair is 50% off, for example, or stuff like this. If you can do any type of coupons, then I would suggest that you work on something like developing a lead automation, lead generation and nurture automation, where you continuously capture these people, you offer them very valuable things in order for them to buy in, right? So the first time they come to you and the first time they get like a phone repaired, and from there, convert them into long-time users. If you have different packages that you can upgrade to, for example, hey, if you purchase, I don't know, 3 repair phones up front, what you get is maybe like, I don't know, free Gorilla Glass for all of your phones. And, just give me ideas on things that you can do to get these people in through the door. And all of this, you can basically automate the email sequences, the touch points, whether it's SMS, WhatsApp, whatever that may be, right? So this is for your use case. I would be looking at marketing and things alongside of lead generation. Now, for your partner's, let's say, author side of things, right? She's writing books. I'm guessing it's a lot about awareness, right? So you want her for her to be found. You want for her to be discovered by people that are reading similar type of books or genre of things that she's writing, right? What I would actually do is I would work on an automation around social media, and I would full on blast everything she has through different channels, right? So I'm talking X, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and then I would look to also create even video material if I can from snippets. Whether she reads them from a book or you just want an AI voice reading them, you can go either or route, right? It's up to you. And I would just automate that process. This is how I would be looking at the 2 different use cases and how I would get started.
Fantastic. Now I just needed to figure out how to implement those. Like we had the ideas with the audio books, with her reading them. She writes her in the mental health genre, so she would read the books, and then I was watching the AI avatar videos, because I said, all right, so you can use Agen or the other 11 Labs.
Oh, 11 Labs, okay.
To do her a voice and then just drop her PDFs in it and then let them read it and then make that available that way. So I guess I'm just going to hang out and watch and see how people implement the things. I have a ton of ideas. It's just a matter of slowing down and actually putting them into action. And I finally signed up yesterday, so now I'm going to go through and get
one quick idea.
I took advantage of that 9-in-1 offer, so I jumped onto that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let me show you one idea that I have that you can instantly use. For example, for social media for your partner. I'm just finding the template here that I can send to you. So I would actually use something like this, and you can DM me if you need any help in terms of like how to set that up. I just sent it in chat. It's basically, and I'm gonna share my screen so that I can show you what I mean. It's this. It's basically this automation right here. I'll zoom in because I do work quite zoomed out. So it's basically an automation that goes through using a WordPress post. But what you would do for this part is you would actually delete these 2 nodes, and you would make it so that it's using a Google Drive and it's accessing a PDF. Why do I say a PDF? For example, if you're doing voice recordings or if you have these books written out, you can always just use snippets of that. Right? Or you could even just use something like let me just open up my N8N and I can show you directly what I mean. Basically, you can delete all these nodes right here that exist right now. And the way that you can tackle it is by adding a node that is, you start with a chat prompt, right? So a chat trigger. And basically what you tell the chat trigger is, I want you to create a social media post around this snippet. And you use something from the book. And instantly you have 4 different social media kind of like things prepared very quickly and very easily. And this isn't even going to cost you much. Realistically, the most expensive part of this type of automation would be the image creation, which you can remove and add yourself even, right? But to give you an example, if you run this, it's around 2 to 5 cents per execution.
Is GenSpark good for video or image generation? I bought the pro account at Julian's recommendation, and then I just haven't used it in the last 4 months. So I figure I better better
Yeah.
start using the credits because they go away.
They do go away. All right. I know that this is something that Ed also spoke about in terms of GenSpark. You need to figure out ways to use your credits. I've actually started creating lessons around GenSpark and different ways that you can use them. For image generation, what I'm going to say, Chris, is GenSpark basically just uses other LLMs and packages them or puts them together to give you a very high and sophisticated output, right? So when you ask me, is GenSpark good at image creation? It's basically using most of the time ChatGPT. So you're basically asking, is ChatGPT good at image creation? However, there is a small caveat. GenSpark is actually really good when you need it to add your image to something. So for example, if you're trying to create a LinkedIn carousel, ChatGPT is not going to know how to do that because it's always going to use your image and alter it in some way. So you're never going to look like yourself exactly. But if you ask GenSpark, use this exact image and create, for example, a carousel for LinkedIn on this topic, it's actually just going to copy paste your image. It might remove the background if you ask it to. So it's quite good at that. It's quite good at extracting an image and implementing it in whatever type of social media you're thinking about. So
All right.
TLDR, GenSpark is really good, but for image specifically, depending on your use case, it's either Nano Banana or ChatGPT right now. I mean, there are other ones, Leonardo AI and so on, but I would say that for me, I'm just using those two right now.
Great. I'll move forward with that then.
Awesome. I do recommend that you check out the lesson I sent you and just tweak it so that it fits your basically your idea. I would go with either snippets or chats, like I showed you, like message to prompt. Basically, you would just write the message and it would create everything you needed to create for 4 different outlets. And in terms of like automating the audio parts, you can just use one of our other lessons, which let me find it here. Again, you're just gonna iterate it for yourself, but it can be something along the lines of, this, where instead of creating a video, you would just use something like 11 Labs to create the voiceovers and so on. So stuff like that.
Great. Greatly appreciate your level of assistance with this.
Of course, Chris, that's part of my job, to welcome you guys and to make sure that every time someone new comes in, you feel like you've been heard, and I can try do my best to help you, right? Awesome. Anytime you have anything, either DM me. I do get a lot of DMs, so I do try to go through them. For example, this morning I had over 300 DMs. Manny, I just saw your message. Here is my Calendly, so that you can book something. So feel free to do that with me, Manny, because I know I promised you something, but apparently I didn't send the calendar over, so I do apologize. Awesome, Chris. Very nice to get to know you. Thank you so much for that. All right, Nigel, I saw that you said you joined today and you're going through the 6-week masterclass. Check the calendar and thought you'd jump in to see what the Q&As are like. That is awesome. As a reminder for you, anyone that's new and anyone that just maybe is watching this for the first time or whatever, every single call is recorded. It's either in the coaching call section, where basically you're going to see them with kind of summaries of what happened in the call, as well as labeled and the video of the call. Sometime if there is something that needs to be added, like a presentation, I do add it at the bottom. Or my calls are always going to be in this folder here called the Q&A call recordings. You can see I've been doing them for many months now. So yeah. All right. I don't think there's anyone else that's new in the group. Everyone else is kind of veterans here. I'm going to give you guys a minute to raise your hands, ask stuff, or we can go towards the latest thing we saw from N8N, which is basically prompt to automation, which I'm quite excited about, that we can briefly kind of mention. But Matt, you raised your hand, so go for it, buddy. Hope you're doing well.
Doing well. Just want to say thank you for letting me know about the recommendation from Maya with the real estate and the metaverse. I did a video recording, sent it to her, so hopefully I'm going to hear back and get her feedback on what could be done. But it was a way to use all the images and the videos that we would create and then give them additional context in the scope of actual geographic areas that might be of interest. So, but as I progress on that, if there's anybody else, I found while I was actually making the video, 1 or 2 things that I could do that I didn't realize in that little world. So if anyone else has stuff on the real estate side that comes to you, just reach out to me and I'll see if I can find a potential solution that might help them. If they have a problem, which could be a real world. I sell to buyers internationally. They have to, sometimes it's a pain for them to travel with visas or something. So how would I show them what the property looks like without them traveling international? There's a way. I'm not saying it's pretty, but it can be done now. And I'll show you this. So if you hear any problems like that when it comes to, just let me know.
Of course, I love that from you, Matt. And yeah, I try to do this, by the way, guys. Whenever I hear someone has something that can help a different member or something that I hear in DMs, I do try to forward people. I must say I've forwarded maybe like 6 people to Sunny, because a lot of people are like, how do you even do affiliate or whatever that they're curious about? And Sunny has been doing a really good job. For Matt there, the example is I had a person in my DMs asking about virtual real estate and how to utilize that space for specifically for marketing and stuff like this, right, Matt? So I did send them your way, and I'm glad you guys had a conversation and something is coming out of it. I'll keep my fingers crossed. Just a little, how do I say this? Caveat, I am not affiliated with anyone that DMs anyone else, okay? If you get a DM from me, that's the only real DM. Everyone else, no affiliation there. But happy to have you guys help each other.
I just want to say thank you again. Like I said, and this is not even for sales, or this is just simply to show what possibilities were there, and then have an exchange so I could then go back to the developers of these worlds and ask them either to add things, remove things, clarify. So it was that type of conversation, hopefully, as it progresses. So that's all it was. I just want to say thank you.
No, my pleasure, Matt. My pleasure. Awesome. Okay, so one of the latest things we saw is actually something that I've been blabbering on about for weeks now, maybe even, no, definitely months now. And it's the fact that I have been somewhat disappointed of all these people coming up with new ways to give you automation platforms. For example, we spoke about Agent Kit last week. And although I've been liking Agent Kit, I really am of the firm belief that they can do so much more. And basically, they can give us something like prompt to automation. I saw that N8N has finally come up with this. I saw it yesterday on X. I saw that a member also shared it yesterday in the community, which is amazing. I actually saw that this was released 10 days ago, but I guess you miss it due to basically a lot of updates that happen. So you're not always going to be there to catch it. But really quickly, for you guys that maybe are overwhelmed or are looking at too many things, I'm going to quickly explain to you what this is about. So I'm going to take you through an avenue of a couple of shares. And meanwhile, if anyone has any questions or wants to say something, raise your hand, interrupt me at any point, please. So, N8N introduced AI Workflow Builder. It's in beta right now, okay? So this is pretty important for you guys to remember. It's in beta, meaning it is not rolled out to everyone. But the idea is you put a prompt in, and I'll show you because we saw one of our members in the community, Andy, actually tested it, and I'll show you exactly what he got as a result, which is pretty cool. But basically, the idea is you put in a prompt and you generate nodes, logic, and structure from text. They can shape it and ship your vision faster. So it's very similar to how we would previously ask for a JSON from Claude or ChatGPT or Grok or whatever, but it's within N8N. And this is crucial because I think that if anyone can do it right, it's going to be the platform itself where we're hosting this. A lot of people were asking, hey, can we use this locally? I think there's a huge demand on this. I know a couple of us here are using N8N locally daily, so that makes a lot of sense. In terms of their notes, this is what it's looking like. So it's basically, they're saying it's your natural language prompts into working automation. The way it's going to look like is this. This is what it's going to look like. So you're going to have, you can click on this build with AI. It's going to have predetermined options, which I think are very healthy, by the way. They can inspire you. And when you click on that, you can just send the prompt and it starts building out, as you can see. So it's going to really depend on what you want to achieve. I've really liked their demo. I think it's super cool. The fact that you can even expand on it once it's done. I don't know if you guys noticed. So basically, it even says your workflow is ready to be executed. And it goes execute, and then there you go. It adds a couple of things, right? So it's just adding things that are important. Now, why I think this can be very strong, it's going to really help those people that are a little bit newer to this, that have less coding experience or knowledge, because we do try to make it as no code as possible in all of our lessons, right? So that's why a lot of the things are ready to be deployed as soon as you download them. All you need to do is connect your own nodes like social media or Gmail or whatever. Availability. It's going to be initially available only for cloud users on a 14-day trial, starter and pro plans, as you can see. I do think that they're going to have to do this for all of us. It is going to be, I'm sure it's going to be very limited at the beginning, but I'm definitely sure that they're going to be forced to give it to all of us. Otherwise, there's going to be a huge uproar. Now, Andy tested it, and I found it really cool. Right now, I cannot show you guys what it's looking like because we are using one of the older, like 2 versions older than the one that's currently available to do this. I have already asked Julian to update our N8N so that we can do it together. and so that I can show you guys stuff like this. We are usually very slow to update just because we want to make sure that nothing breaks, and we're kind of testing everything step by step. So he gave it a prompt where he wanted to take blogs from a WordPress site and auto post these to Facebook. If there's no image, you generate one using Nana Banana, right? So this is the process that it went through, and it's for this website, which is Andy's website, right? So basically, this is where he posts his blogs. It's about photography and so on. And I'm not gonna read the whole thing. I can send you the conversation if you guys are interested. But basically, it created this. So it's using an RSS feed, which is pretty cool. I actually like that because this will get updated as soon as a post is posted. Now, I have no idea what's behind this workflow configuration. I actually do not know. If it doesn't have an image, it's actually using OpenAI, so it didn't go to Nana Banana like Andy asked it, but it's still using an image generating LLM, which is pretty cool. Now, these two, I think, are just things that are made up. I have no way of kind of like processing them, but it finishes with posting to Facebook. So it actually created the whole thing that he asked it for, right? However, it did some mistakes, but I think it will be pretty interesting to see how it develops and what the next steps are and how this is going to look for all of us. It was a little segue that I think showed the full conversation community post. Here you go. Here you go, Arnett, sir. Very happy to do that for you. Very interested to follow this along to see what happens and what that's going to mean for the future of basically for the future of N8N. But this is exactly what I've been asking for. I hope many of you guys get to use this and play around with it, because I think it's going to be very, very powerful. I think that is the biggest update, and I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to see if you guys have any questions. Otherwise, I'll just keep on doing presenter mode. You don't need to be shy, by the way, guys. It's an open forum. If you've been here before, we can just have a conversation. Maybe you have a question about, have you been using, what is it called? Have you been using Agent Kit so far? Have you played around with any new LLM that you're impressed? Have you been disappointed by GenSpark? Anything and everything. It's an open forum.
Sorry.
Don't apologize.
Right. Do you know, like Google Sheets, I was trying to kind of just use the formulas. I was a bit disappointed. I tried to use Gemini to kind of give me prompting or even gain access to it, but it wouldn't do it. What would you recommend as a good way of working with like Google Sheets and stuff like that to kind of formulate, if it does, I mean, with the formulas and that? Because obviously I was just disappointed with Gemini that it physically, because it's a Google product, it won't even handle that to kind of alter the, you know, cells and all of that with its AI. So that's my question. I'm just taking the input. If anyone's using Sheets or Excel, which literally can alter everything.
So what are you looking to alter? Give me a little bit more context. Are you looking to just put in formulas in your Google Sheet that work, or what are you looking to do?
So for example, one of the things which I'm just testing out is like for people who are trading on leverage, financial trading. So calculating the formulas in order to kind of risk a percentage of trading. So if it's 2% per trade on a, let's say an account example, let's say like 1,000, right? 2% with the actual calculations of the like the actual currency pair to trade. So obviously with that, I've managed to kind of play around with, let's say, Claude and all of that. They've given that, but what I wanted is for it to kind of pick up the Google Sheet and then in Gemini just do all the calculations and adjust the cells. But it wouldn't do it.
Yeah. I kind of get you. Let me open up a Google Sheet here together. Give me a sec. So basically, let me share my screen. So basically you have like information with data, right? And you just want to see if you can use Gemini to do anything with it. I don't know if you're talking, Manny, by the way.
Yes, yeah. I am. Sorry,
yeah.
Okay, I'm looking.
Yeah. So did you try the Gemini here within Excel sheet, or are you trying the gemini.google.com?
Yeah, google.com. Yeah, I'm not trying it in there.
So what if you try it here within the ecosystem?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to play around with that and see if I can do it.
Because here you can do a lot of things. You can give it a prompt to see if it helps you, because I think this would be the easiest way to do it. You don't need to connect sheets to anything. Right now, if you give me like an example table, I can plug it in and we can try to do it together. We can try to come up with it. I don't really have like a necessary, let's say 15, I don't know. I don't necessarily know how.
Yeah, so obviously with you giving me that kind of bit, I could take it away and obviously get back to you on that. Yeah, because that's the way I wasn't doing it. I was doing it through Gemini itself and then trying to upload the file and, you know, work around that, which was a bit of an awkward one.
Yeah.
It's fine.
One of the things that maybe you can do, but I haven't played too much around this, and I'm gonna just give you context, is that you can think about creating a gem. So what is a gem? A gem is basically like a custom GPT, but within the Gemini ecosystem. I can show you what that's looking like. So maybe you can create a gem that's specifically for this use case, and you can always kind of like pick it here because it's going to be within your working space. I haven't used this too much, but I've seen some interesting use cases where people, because they're forcing Gemini or the Google ecosystem within their company, they're kind of using this. So here's what a gem looks like. It's very similar to a custom GPT. Like you give it a name, description, and instructions, right? And then you can add certain knowledge bases to it. And you can try with something like this because then you're going to be able to call upon it within your sheets.
Right, okay, so what I'll do is I'm going to play around with that then, because obviously you've literally unlocked what I was trying to.
There we go.
I'll give it a go.
You see, no need to be shy. Just ask. It can be something super easy or hard, and we can try to answer it.
Add something to that also.
Go for it, Aaron. I'd love that.
Yeah, so what he can probably do it all directly through Sheets. What he might want to look at is apps, or was it App Script? So if you go to Google Sheets extensions, they have this thing called App Script, and then you can basically run code directly in Google Sheets. Another one.
So with the App Script, do you actually have to give like an API call in order to use Gemini to kind of change things around or something like that?
That was the second aspect of it. So what you can also do directly in Google Sheet is you do equals AI, and then I think you can basically give it the command that you want.
In the script, isn't it? Or, oh, okay.
Yeah, equals AI. It should have a function there somewhere.
Oh, like this, I guess.
Yeah, and then basically, yeah, you can type in whatever you want it to do, and then you click on the cell that what you want it to do, and I think it basically just runs Gemini directly in there.
Yeah.
But would it be on each tab or cell, or could you do it like through the whole thing to create multiple sheets and columns and rows as such?
What you're going to have to do is play around with it to see, Manny, because it's going to be very hard for Aaron, myself, or maybe Omar is going to have an answer. But the thing is, until you go in there, and it's very hard to answer without the actual visual use case in front of us, right?
Work on that.
Yeah, you have three avenues now, right? You have the Gemini itself on the right-hand side that you can talk to within your sheets. The second avenue is creating a gem and trying to use that specific gem for every sheet of yours because you're going to have it trained, just like a trained custom GPT. Or the third one is, which I haven't dabbled with at all, App Script. But I mean, if you're looking to go down that avenue, I would actually love to hear some more on that, right? Because obviously, Aaron, you've done it. I've not really used it at all. I haven't had the necessity. I've only used it through Gemini's direct interaction. So yeah, Manny, that was very good. Let me know. Let me know if that helps.
Thanks, Aaron.
Awesome. Omar, you raised your hand. Go for it.
Okay, I don't have an answer for Manny. I just wanted to maybe talk a little bit about myself. I'm a teacher. I teach one-on-one English conversations.
Okay.
To Thai students, actually. Right now I'm in Thailand and I teach them. And you know, I teach about 6 hours a day, or 6 to 7 hours a day. And I'm trying to get away from, I have to give away my time to get money. So I'm trying to find a way that I can leverage my time and maybe create something for my students, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know what they want. So I guess what I'm asking is, how do I go about finding what my students want? And yeah, that's really what I want. That's the first step.
First and foremost, I only know two things in Thai. I don't know if you are Thai by origin or not, but I can only say Swadi Krap and I think Kapun Krap. Those are the only things that I know in Thai. I've been to Thailand, love the country, so I love what you're doing. Now, onto your two use cases. So, Omar, I would say you're looking at learning what your, let's say, clientele needs, right? And how you can automate it. But secondly, I had an idea of things that you can already start doing with AI and automation. So for the first one, what I would do if I were you is I would just go with a form. You know, I would just send a form, give a couple of questions that are drop down, but also a couple of open-ended ones, and you kind of work from there, because it's going to be very hard for me to tell you, oh, I know exactly what they're going to need. It's going to be very different, especially for that kind of like audience, right? I've worked with a lot of Filipino people, Thai people, and I know that's in their culture, they're a little bit more shy. They're very open to taking too much on, but very scared to admit that they can't do it. So maybe if you approach them with, look, I just want to figure out how to help you best, you know, fill out this form, and this is what we can do next. So that is a way maybe where you can collate information, whether you use Jot Forms or you use Google Forms. I love Google Forms because I love the Google ecospace, like ecosystem. Everything for me exists there. But it's all up to you, right? So I would tackle that part that way. And the second thing that I would do is, on that remark, in terms of understanding what your audience like, I would actually go to an LLM and try to do a little bit of deep research. What I mean by that is, you exactly like you did right there, right? Explain your use case and what you're trying to figure out. I would just give it a lot more context and details. My usual audience is between this and this age. My usual audience is usually male, female, or whatever, you know, like division. My usual audience is looking to achieve XYZ, you know, and kind of like do a little bit of deep research to check, is there any Reddit forums where they're talking about what they're interested in? Is there any popular places where they hang out? And basically with that deep research, not only are you going to get some knowledge on, okay, this is where they are, so you can figure out even new people for you and your business, but at the same time, you're going to see if there's any overlap in things that they're very adamant about or interested in, right?
Okay. I mean, I've done a lot of that already. I just wanted to get your take on it, basically.
Yeah, well, that's good. If you've done parts like that, then you can just keep on iterating or going more in depth. So the next part that, if I were you, that I would do is, you probably got a lot of information if you did that. You probably got a lot of like feedback on what would be good through the forums or through the deep research. Start implementing parts of it, you know, and if you're thinking about how you can automate any of that, I would say you can really automate things around testing, around like sending homework, curriculum stuff. I'm not sure how your lessons go, because you said you're a one-on-one coach, so you're always going to have to jump on those calls, right? To be there to help them pronunciation, ways to express themselves, and so on and so forth. But maybe impromptu AI calls. You know, in today's day and age, you can just basically have an 11 Labs be a conversational agent. And what you can do is just impromptu English calls with your students, where it's going to push them a little bit out of their comfort space. And yet it's still going to, how do I say this? Teach them a little bit more about English. You can watch the recordings back together or alone, and then you can break them down for them, right? You can be like, we studied this. This is what you could have done better. So just ideas on how you can handle it.
I like that. I like that. Okay. All right. I appreciate it.
Of course, Omar. Happy to help. Look, maybe during this conversation, we're going to figure out even more ideas. But off of the top of my dome, this is what I think. If you've done the research, if you've done your due diligence, understanding what they need or what they might want, go into implementation phase and figure out how to be super creative. I need to share this with you. And I mean, it might not be applicable for you, but about 3 years ago, I did an interview with a company called Belkins. They're Polish, I think. I'm not sure, maybe US, but I think they have subsidiaries in Poland. First step of the interview was actually 3 AI conversational agents, all different from each other. And this might be very cool for you. I'll explain what I mean. The first conversational agent was very, they let me elaborate, they let me explain stuff, right? But they had no filter on when the time had passed. So I needed to be the person to put the hard stop on the conversation, because that is a sort of an uncomfortable conversation, you know, to be like, sorry, but I gotta go, or whatever. The second person always interrupted me. They never let me finish my sentence, you know, and it made it very hard to be able to get my words out or explain myself. And then the third one was very punctual, and they were like, tell me this, but use facts, you know? So maybe in your sense, Omar, what you can do is you can build these different conversational agents where it pushes them to achieve different things. You know,
okay.
Just as an idea.
Okay.
Just
good idea. Yeah, good idea. Okay. All right. Thank you, Vic. I appreciate it.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure. All right. We did have Elsa join us. Meanwhile, while we were talking, and we also had John McClain, but he, I think, stepped out. Maybe he'll come back. Hopefully he'll come back. Matt, just 1 second before I go to you. Arnett, Google to invest $15 billion to build AI data hub in India. Wonder if this means it becomes less Western based and more global. I actually saw that news. I actually spoke about it with my partner as well. I think it's pretty big. Not sure what it's going to mean. Definitely going to means a lot for global sake. I truly do hope that it just means that they're looking to expand where they're positioned, because I think right now they're California based. I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. Interesting one for sure. Makes sense, really. Hedge fund managers and other financial players are desperate to get a foot in the door out there. Absolutely. Perplexity CEO Arvind Rivers is a great guy. Doubt he's 1 out of 1.5 billion people. I don't know what you're alluding to there. Maybe it's part of the article. I'll definitely need to read about it. Vic, I haven't heard much about Seed Dream 4 since it was released. Have you been using it? I need to be very honest with you. I have not. A lot of these tools that come up, sometimes I let them stir a little or exist a little. I remember I was very hyped about Grok when it came out, the latest iteration, because for the first 2 weeks, it was so good. I was very excited for it. And then for some reason, I don't know if they dialed it down or what they did, you know, and then I was like, okay, I'm never doing that again. So every time I hear a new tool now, Victor, what I do is I kind of let 2 weeks pass to see whether it's actually the real deal or whether it's evaporating. Yeah.
That's what I'm doing right now. Exactly. I mean, you know, the pioneers get the arrows in the back, and I already have too many of those. So thank you.
One of the things that might bite me if I continue doing this is that maybe I'm going to miss something that's super revolutionary within the first 2 weeks. But with the fact of how far ahead we are of the crowd in terms of how aware we are, how often we're using AI automation, and just the way we're thinking right now, I'm going to be very honest. I'm not too scared about that. That may be a real problem in 2 years from now when everyone's AI on the AI hype train. But right now, I feel confident enough where I don't want to waste my time going into 2 weeks of something that turns out to be absolute poop. You get me? So it's such a time waster for me.
Okay, thanks.
No worries, no worries. Sorry, I couldn't give you more. Ed said, GenSpark worked with Excel creating a number of formulas. Yeah, I know about that one. I was just thinking to myself, if Manny wants it to exist within the within Sheets itself, and he was trying Gemini, I think this will be the best approach. But Ed, very good remark. Manny, if you do get stuck at the end, you can always try something like a different LLM. GenSpark is pretty good. And Nigel jumped off. That's all good. Thank you for joining us, Nigel. All right, Matt, you were first. Go for it, buddy.
Just wanted to ask, when on the trading side, when it was mentioned, one thing in a very speculative Wild West still right now portion of trading, there are these various things, these meme coins and things that are going on there, which very, very speculative and designed to be, a lot of them designed to fail ahead of time with the rug pulls and things that you hear about. But an offshoot of that that seems to have a little more stability is within the rewards, where you have a crypto wallet. Activity is done on a new Web3 platform of some form. It could be a trading platform, it could be something else, it could even just be user activity in a virtual world, whatever it would be. Occasionally they do then get the users have generated enough activity and they get rewarded with airdrops, which are bonuses or rewards for being an early adopter, and therefore compensation. And that's where the real return on investment is. Some of these things can go, you know, in US $5,000-10,000 a piece. So in that, there seems to be a way to filter the projects that are out there that are worth the time. And those are the ones where certain venture capital firms have invested in it. But you have to look historically, which ones have the best odds and things like that. So I was looking at Perplexity. I was looking at the airdrops.io, and then using Perplexity just to analyze and going through some historical, what are some of the traits, things like that, what, you know, where the companies were, which firms, et cetera. But once that happens, the becoming alert of another project where you could be one of the first 1,000 people to jump in and potentially get an airdrop because it's met the filter, that's where I'm having some trouble. So even if it's something I can send to you later, or if it's something that somebody else listening on the recording could reach out to me separately, if there's a way to filter it, so if they're, I'm just going to make it up, 500 Silicon Valley and whatever international Web3 tech investment venture capital firms, hedge funds, there, and they, of those, maybe a third tend to have historical good investments where they reward with airdrops, and that tends to be their playbook. I just need some help on filtering that way. So if anyone can help on that, that'd be great. Thank you.
I love that, Matt. I need to say I was a little bit lucky because I got in quite early when it comes to crypto, and a lot of those altcoins, meme coins, however you want to call them, they really were. I wasn't too educated on the projects, but I just really bought into that hype, and it was pretty good because I got lucky, to be very transparent with you. In terms of like, I don't think there is enough, even if you did research for 20 years, I don't think there is enough concrete evidence out there that is going to help you understand what to invest or how to invest, regardless of if they have drops or if they have any type of reward system. If we're talking strictly investing, and I'm not a financial advisor, this is just me saying what I do. I really look into just investing in stocks or ETFs or whatever your thing is, the S&P 500 and so on. I am not a financial advisor, okay? I'm just saying that I find that to be a lot more stable if you're looking for long-term growth. I would say if you have enough funds to invest into things like crypto, maybe it's good, but I mean, it's definitely been very, very good to me. So I don't want to be hypocritical.
I didn't clarify. I jumped right into the mechanical question. I was approached by one fellow who's actually doing this as a paid membership newsletter where he's looking to do it, but he's spending so much time scouting these firms and then running his analysis manually that I was looking for the AI side to help him, and I'd be brought in to run this portion. He'd be out doing the marketing, but I'd be providing the quality opportunities that he would have found manually, just sped up 95% faster with AI and more to therefore make his membership more valuable. My apologies, I didn't give the context.
No, that's all good. That's all good. I kind of took a very wide swing at answering that. To be honest with you, I don't have a specific answer for what you're after for the person that approached you. I think that it's such an intertwined space, automation, AI, crypto, everything happening within the same last few years. I can't really, like, your use cases are so unique, Matt. I love hearing about them, but it makes it so hard for me to be able to, give you something concrete or be able to help.
It's a curse I've had for years. I'll drop out. I'll send you a separate DM on this, just in case anyone else you come in, just as a reminder, in case anyone contacts you up with it.
And no, of course.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
My pleasure. Okay, and then Christopher, you raise your hand. Go for it, buddy. I kind of saw what you dropped in chat. You wanna?
Well, just simply, I've done very, very little with those tools, but and I intend to do more. My concern is that you get locked in this walled garden where you can't extract your vibe creation, and it definitely provides benefit in terms of prototyping and kind of getting out to market. Some things can be there in production, but I think living in those environments, as I said, for me, it's not a useful effect in terms of what I'm trying to build. So does anyone know? I mean, can you extract your creation from those systems easily so that you can host it elsewhere?
I'm gonna give you an answer off the top of my dome. I've only done this on, I think, 3 occasions where I've basically pushed something from Bolt to GitHub. Right? I don't know if you've been using anything like this or doing anything like this. I believe on GitHub, I went and it was like creative repository. You needed to then keep it public. I think that was one of the prerequisites. And then it would be like you would feed it with your Bolt creation or the vibe coded thing. And then you would just push it live. And from there, you would go to Vercel, something like Vercel, for example, if you wanted to transfer hosting and have it there. And you sign in with GitHub and it's going to show up as one of the projects. I think you might need to add a new project, but I think for me, it showed by default. And you can choose from like your repository list and you just publish it. It was something like this. It's the only reason it's hard for me to talk. I don't have the tools in front of me, but I can try for you, Chris, if this would help, I can try to do a video of it. So basically vibe code something in Bolt and then take it from Bolt to GitHub and from GitHub to Vercel. If Vercel doesn't work for you and you're after some other platform that you want to host it, maybe it'll help you. I don't know what you would use, DigitalOcean or what you would use. Yeah, you're muted, but I saw that. That's all. Anything to add?
Thank you. Yeah, no, video would be great. That's excellent. Thank you.
Of course. I think one of the biggest thing about vibe coding, and I kind of experienced what you said there, Christopher, is I really hate it when I'm locked into an environment, when it feels such a hassle to get out of that environment or to go to a different environment. One of the reasons why I think in one of the lessons I speak about why I like GenSpark when it creates an MVP for me is because I can really take out the code, the HTML that it does, and I can use it wherever the hell I want, right? Whether it's your own website, whether it's a WordPress loaded website, whether it's just a place to preview it, like Livewire or whatever. I just like that it's so flexible, so easy. Yeah, okay, sounds good. Let me just put it on my doc. So a video of how to take a project from video on how to take a project from Bolt cursor to GitHub.
And then to Vercel.
GitHub and then Vercel or DigitalOcean. I've heard a lot of chatter about DigitalOcean. Haven't done too much with that, but I'll try to see if I can do with both versions so that you guys have options.
That'd be terrific.
Okay.
Thank you.
This will be done by Friday. So I'll try to do it today. Tomorrow I have like 14 calls, so I don't think I'll be able to. So by Friday you'll have this from me,
Great.
and it'll be in Vic's Learning Corner. Much
Great.
like. And by the way, if you guys give me more inspiration, I can add even more stuff there. It's all about needed to be inspired. Ideally, any other host would be great. Okay, there we go. I'll do both DigitalOcean and Vercel.
Perfect. Thank you again.
No need to thank me once it's done. That's the way. That's my motto. Thank me once it's done. But that's all good. No worries. No worries. So yeah, I think it's been very productive today. A lot of topics we managed to discuss. Very excited to see what N8N comes out with, and once I update there, I'll also do definitely lessons on how you can use this within Vic's Learning Corner. One of the things that I have heard is, I think it was Barry that was really talking vocally about this, is that 2026 is going to be very big for AI. So I'm also looking forward to that. And yeah, I do apologize if sometimes I don't get back to you guys over the weekend. I don't work over the weekend, so I'll always try my best to reply to you Mondays. But as we have a few more minutes left, I'm going to give you guys some space or time if you want to say something, ask something. If not, it's been an amazing session as always. So you guys take the floor. I don't mean leave, by the way. If you had any questions, you can go for it. Otherwise, happy to give you guys 10 minutes back of your time.
I think that was great. I always thought I was just simply slow, that I couldn't pull my content from Bolt or anything. I figured it was just me and not being able to get it to put it on my own private host or my own local hosted site or anything. But now I see other people have the same issue. Yeah,
it's not you. I feel like I think this is a very common thing with Lovable, Bolt, Cursor. Who else is there? There's like a lot of these platforms that are Base 44, etc. They really lock you in. It does take a little bit of know-how to get out, but the good thing with GitHub is then you're unlocked. So once I show you how to be able to put it in GitHub, from there it's going to be very easy for you guys to move it around.
Yeah, I'm going to have to set up a GitHub account and learn how to use it effectively.
Yeah, once I do that video, I think it's going to be a lot easier for you to understand the basic premise of it. We as non-coders are not going to use GitHub that much, realistically, but for this use case is very, very good. Go for it, Manny.
Just following on. So do you know, like for example, you see a website, you like the outlay of it.
Okay.
Copy the HTML and then put it into WordPress using said kind of softwares. What you're using. What would be the better kind of tool to use from that?
So what would be a better tool to get a HTML that you like and recreate something like your own version of it, or
copy it and then tweak it from there? So you could move on to the WordPress plugin or however to do that. This is off the bat because obviously with the conversation like Chris is and everything, I'm just trying to visualize, okay, what would be a way of doing this? So
specifically for a website, there are plenty of ways you can go about it. Let's say you really like the layout, like you said, but it's a whole different industry or business. I would actually take it to an LLM of your, like Claude is pretty good that you can use, or even GenSpark. And I would just say, this is the layout I really like, but my industry is, for example, XYZ. So basically create me an HTML that would encapsulate this layout, but for my use case. Is this kind of, I don't know if I'm...
Yeah, that would be the case. But then obviously when you've got the CSS files and all of that, you want to implement it into WordPress, so it kind of fits in.
I get you. Let me see if I have a WordPress login right now. Otherwise, this is also a lesson I can do. Let me just check left off.
Yeah, that would be helpful because obviously it's just like, you could pick ideas up as well as like what they've got. And then
there are two ways that you can do it in WordPress. One of them is by basically when you create a new page, you can just on the right hand side, there's an option to input CSS HTML so that it creates it that way instead of using drag and drops. I don't have a WordPress login right now. One sec, I'm trying to see if I can do
Vic,
this.
may I chime in on that? Because this is actually something I'm going to be doing. One of the things that I was considering doing is when I find a site or a template that I like, there is an extension or framework that sits on top of WordPress called Elementor.
There you go.
Elementor. So what I plan to do is find that site and then use Claude or another tool to say, take this site and build me a template based upon Elementor.
Okay.
Because then that way, because when you get raw CSS or a JavaScript or something like that, it might even be minified. So there might be some stuff that you won't be able to do. And you certainly don't want to be given something that is code accurate, but yet is so rigid that you can't work with it. Whereas it's in Elementor, then you get the flexibility of kind of drag and drop panels or frames and a lot more control. I've never done it. I have no idea how successful it'll be.
The reason being is because obviously I used to have Elementor, but somebody used Oxygen Builder, which is But obviously what I would like to try doing is, because I've got that software as a lifetime license, how I could kind of convert it through the Oxygen Builder to have the same kind of layout. That's all. Yeah, I'll take your point on that.
Just to add on what Christopher's saying, but that's a great way of doing it. I love that. If you are, however, trying to put in an HTML code to see what it's going to look like, outside of just using like a plugin, you can very easily, in almost any WordPress scenario, go to code editor. And here, if you put in the HTML, it's going to load whatever you're trying to do, right, with the HTML. So it's just another way that you can see what your HTML is going to give you, the output. So instead of a visual editor, it would be a code editor, right? I'm just giving you an idea. If you do have an HTML and you try to preview it, this is what you can do.
Okay, that's fine. That's another thing for me to kind of work on. That's fine.
Of course. Awesome. Okay, Elsa, let's go with you, and then we can wrap it up.
Yes, so potentially I am thinking to partner with someone in the community to do web design and services, but I'm not sure how to go about getting clients, especially the first one is hard.
Okay. And are you on any, let's say, network right now, like Fiverr, like Upwork? Are you on any of those?
No, I haven't set up anything.
To be very honest with you, when you're a freelancer, especially in early days, unless you're looking to enter a company through like, which I'm going to also mention now as like a different way to do it, I would always go with creating something like an Upwork or a Fiverr account, and I'll explain why. Because you can fill out your portfolio. And afterwards, or even during this, if you're trying to apply to companies for like a long-term job, or you're trying to start up your own business, you can just find clients through this avenue. To give you a little bit of more information, Goldie Agency 10 years ago actually started as Julian solo on Upwork, trying to find clients for SEO. So even though it seems a little bit weird, like, you know, it's like a freelancer platform where I might just get bought out for small projects, it is an avenue that you can pursue to find clientele. Now, outside of that, if you know where your clients live, for example, if they're on a Reddit forum, if they're on LinkedIn, if they're on X, just go hard at doing a little bit of guerrilla marketing. I don't know how to say it. The basic, very aggressive marketing, right? Where you see a post where someone is asking for help and you offer to do it at a very discounted rate or even for free to fill up that portfolio for you also. Because if you're early doors, the thing that you're going to lack the most is social proof and conviction on why someone should see you, Victor, why someone should choose you over someone else, right? So early doors, you're looking to do a lot of things like, you don't have to do it for free. I understand you might value your time, but just fill out that portfolio of successful projects, of successful endeavors, and use that as a lot of social proof for you, right? And to create that trust with your next potential client.
Okay, so how about those lead generation workflows, that script websites or Google Map? Would that be a possible way to start, or the way you mentioned? I don't know which one's better. I'll do both.
I would say look at scraping Reddit communities as your first automation and go from there, because you're going to be able to understand where you can find your potential client. Lead generation is really good. You can also start with that, but you're not going to have a lot of conviction as to why someone should choose you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
There you go.
So in the beginning, focus on build the portfolio.
There you go, Elsa. Thank you so much. Drop me a message if there's anything else I can do for you. We are out of time, and I do have another call. I've loved today's call. Thank you so much, guys, for attending.
Thank you.
Of course, my pleasure. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye, team.